Hello, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of stamping. My name is Sarah Simon. I'm coming to you from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I look a little disheveled because I was actually out doing some raking of leaves, picking up sticks, washing windows, and it's super windy here today. So I volunteered at my church where I'm going to be, actually my new job is going to be. So I got to meet some of the kids, which was awesome. And it was a wonderful morning. I just had a blast, and the people that we served were so appreciative, and it was just a lot of fun. And the last place that we got to go was our cemetery, and my grandma and my grandpa and my uncle and my aunt are buried there. So I was able to stop there and just kind of spend a little time in prayer in front of their headstone and where they're buried. So that was kind of cool as well. There's a whole bunch of you who have jumped on here. I'm so excited. Today we are going to be giving away the bundle of your choice for those who entered into my creative challenge. And then I have a layout for you that's using some of the new product that'll be available come May 6th. And I also have a fun fold that is new to me. I've never done this fun fold before. I got it from Lisa Curcio. She did it, I think, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know. And I came across it. I'm like, I've never done that before. It was fun to work on that. So let's go ahead. You know what? I didn't bring my mail in here. I have some mail. At the end, I'll run and grab it. It's on my kitchen table, I'm pretty sure. I know, I think I had 2 Easter cards that were there yet that people had sent to me, and they were adorable. So I will I will run and get that at the end, and we'll give away prizes first. So last week we made this gift pack with 10 cards in for One Sheet Wonder. And I do have 2 of those because I have my sample and I have the one that we made all together. And so I'm going to be giving these away. One is going to be for the person who I chose randomly with comments, and the other one is going to be going to someone who shared my video. So how this works is anytime you make a comment, and a whole bunch of you have commented and said hello to me, and hello to all of you too. Sometimes it takes me so long if I read off every single person's name, but know that I do see you here and I do see your comments, and I really do appreciate that. And if you ask questions and I don't answer them, please ask them again. And let's see, Melanie, I stayed up and made the card tonight. Should have gotten I'm at shipping by 10 minutes. Oh no, the free shipping. I know that ended yesterday. So I ended up getting my order in, I think it was Thursday night for the free shipping. And a lot of people took advantage of that. I appreciate that. But anyway, how this works is I take all of the names and I write them all down, and I give you all a number. So I have a list that are all of my commented, and then I put like a little asterisk by it if you also told me that you shared, or if I look online and I can see that you shared. And so make sure in the comments, if you do share, make sure that you shared, write that you shared, so you can get into those drawings. And then I just do a random number generator, and whichever number is picked, those are the people that win my prizes. So sometimes you might be extra lucky and win 2 weeks in a row. I just do it completely by random, and I don't even keep track of who ended up winning the week before. I can't keep track of that much. So anyway, for commenting last week, the person whose number was picked was Marsha Long. So Marsha, I will be getting one of these kits, or these little gift sets, in the mail to you. I think I saw Marsha on here. Let me look and see if she was on here. I'm pretty sure. And Marsha, I think when I looked up your address, I do have your address. Yes, you are on here. I do have your address, but I think the last time that I sent something to you, I think you told me that I had the wrong address. That they did end up forwarding it, I think, because you said you live close to your old address, so the mail person might forward it to you, and I think you did get it. But if you could send me a message, or I'll look back at my messages to see if you ever sent me what your new address is. And then for sharing and also receiving, the gifts are the same this time. For sharing is Margaret Duncan. And Margaret, I do not know if I saw you on here, but I do not have your address. I do not believe. I think I looked it up and you were South Carolina, maybe. So if you could send me a private message at createwithsarah.llc@gmail, or if you find me on Facebook, I can't remember. I think you might have been on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, you could send me a private message as well, and just send me your address and something that's private. You don't want everyone to get your address, right? And then for placing an order, like I said, so many of you took advantage of that free shipping. And so receiving a spool of this frayed ribbon, which I think it's still available, but it is retiring. And I don't think these are available anymore. 2024 through 26 in color shimmer gems. I love these. They just make a card shimmer when you use them. So receiving these for placing an order is Kay Vaneprin. And I think I saw Kay on here. Yep, I did see her on here. So Kay, I will get these to you. I might just drop them off instead of shipping them because it might be easier. All right. A couple of you have asked if I'm doing my color club again, and I am. I'm hoping to get that figured out this weekend. Here's the problem that I'm running into. One of the colors is not available in the ink pad right now because it's not stamping the correct color, the correct shade of the blue. It's the one that's the cloud. I can't think of the name of it. Something cloud. So right now I can't order like all of the ink pads, and I don't know when it's going to be available. And sometimes we don't know if it's going to be available. Once before we had it where the entire 2 years that we had a color, we never did have an ink pad. We only had the marker for it. So I'm having a hard time figuring out how to price it, or if I'm going to have to refund people money afterwards. And so I'm kind of waiting to see what I hear from Stampin' Up, but I think I'm going to go ahead. So how my color club works, cloud cover. Thank you, Kelly. How my color club works is that if you sign up for the color club, what I do is I order everything in the color on one order. So I get a pack of, you get a pack of each color of paper. You get one pack of the designer series paper. You get the markers. You get the gems. You get the spool of each of the ribbons. You get the ink pad and the re-inker. Okay. And so what I do is I order all of it at once and I hold on to it. And each month I feature a different color. So you pay, you get the discounted price for me putting in that big order, but you end up paying a smaller amount each month. So it's 5 months long. Each month is a different color. So in that month, you will end up getting that spool of ribbon, you will get that re-inker, you will get the pack of paper, and you will get the stamp pad. And then along with it, I give you 3 cards that I've made using that color. And I give you a sheet of paper that has a variety of different color combinations with our other colors that you could use with it that are different than our color coach. Okay, so it's not the ones that are right on the color coach. I come up with some different color combinations that you could put together with that color. So that is my color club. And like I said, I'm going to try to get the stuff out. I have to figure out what I'm going to do because we don't have that ink pad right now. And so what you do is I just bill you out at the beginning of the month for your monthly portion of it. You can add the blends if you want to add the blends. Those are a little bit more. So, and then I end up like, once I get your payment, I ship out your cards and your stuff. And the very first month, you get the markers up front, you get the gems up front, and you get the DSP right up front. And so you will have that already from the very beginning. So I hope to get that going soon. I know a couple of you who've done it in the past and really liked that because it's kind of a slower way of getting all the colors and not having to pay that big price up front. What I'm going to do is I can also gift you Stampin' Rewards. And because I will be putting in the order all together, because then I hold it for you and send it each month. That way you don't have to pay for it all up front. I will gift you the rewards that you have coming. Now, when I gift you the rewards, you only have 90 days to use those instead of the calendar year. So you have 3 months to use them when they're gifted to you. So, but it'll tell you that in your Stampin' Up account, it'll say that you only have like these, and if you use whichever ones you use, they're always going to take the ones that expire the earliest. So, all right, that's a lot of information. Are you ready for me to give away a big prize? I bet you are. I have to share my screen here. You need to go back to my Facebook post. Let's see here. Present, share screen. We're going to do our wheel of names. You have to go back to that Facebook post and you have to check out all of the cards that were submitted. They're beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these up a couple of times. I'm going to keep shuffling them. I've got 22 people that entered. I'm going to click it to see who our lucky winner is this time for our creative challenge. And it is Lisa. Lisa, I'm going to look to see if you are on here. Let me close this and let me come back to all of you. Let's see. Where do I stop presenting? Stop screen. There we go. And I'll come back to you here. Okay, so Lisa, I don't know if you were on here or not. Let me look to see if I see you. I don't think I saw you, but you get the bundle of your choice. So you can send me a message, a private message. If I don't hear from you, I will reach out to you and see what you would like for your bundle. Congratulations, Lisa. And thank you to all of you who participated and shared your beautiful creations that you had with all of us. All right, I think we're ready to start stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras here. I look a little crooked. Yeah, that looks a little bit straighter. I'm going to go turn my overhead camera off. And my overhead camera, my overhead light, it gets rid of all the shadows. All right, so for our first card is going to be a sneak peek of some product that'll be available beginning on May 6th. And so what we're going to be using is this sweet jar stamp set along with the coordinating punch. Okay, so it has this little top. So you can either stamp the top, stamp the jar. It's got some little candles you could put in there, some hearts. It has these little, almost like clovers, and they have like sending you a little sweetness, luck, love, a little treat for you, miss you bunches. So these look like chocolate chip cookies. So this is what we're going to be using today. So these are the chocolate chips and those are the cookies. They've got some little hearts that you can put in there. Just kind of a cute little stamp set. And I had to do this one for a swap. And so I had it out and I was working with it and I thought, that's what I'm going to use for my, for this. So I'm going to go ahead and give you, I'm going to give you the dimensions like I normally do, but I also do have them typed out. I'll go ahead and, I don't know if you want me to put this up closer so you can see it closer. These are going to, if you want to take a screenshot, there's the screenshot. I'll put it next to the finished card when I'm done as well. But I also do have the banners for those of you that like the banners popping up because I don't know what people like or what they prefer. So I did both. So we are going to be using a card base of crumb cake that's 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4.25. So it's just going to be a regular fold. This is going to be just an easy layout that you could do. Then we have, whoops, some basic white. I've got a layer that's 4 by 5.25. One is going to be for the inside and the other one is going to be for a layer on the outside. And then you need to take a DSP for this layout. And I chose this one that comes from one of the new, of course, I don't have the name. Here it is. It's this pack, Floral Impressions. Okay, so I used this before on, remember when we did the card with this? We used that paper for that, and it's one of the backs of one of the floral ones. So this measures 3 7/8 by 5, and I'm going to cut it with you so you can see how to cut it. And then I have a piece, since I had this 3 7/8 inch wide, I just cut a half of an inch off of there for the inside. Okay, so those are all of our dimensions. And again, I'll put that little sheet that I had um, up there when I have the card finished and I can put it right next to it. All right, we have a little bit of gold. This is going to be for the cover of our jar. So this is our gold foil paper. I have a scrap of white so that I can stamp my greeting, and I'm going to punch it out. And then I can also stamp my jar, and I can punch that out. I like the screenshot of your card with the dimensions. Okay, good. I'm glad that you said that, because that's what I'm going to do at the end then. And then this is a piece of the designer paper that I had left over. This is 6 by 2 1/4 or 2 1/2. You can get it by with 2 1/4. I think I might have cut it at 2 1/2. That's going to be the back of our envelope to match this. Okay, let's start with our stamping, and then I'll come back and show you how to do the cutting for that. All right, let me get organized here. I have some early espresso ink. I have some crumb cake ink. And I have Pool Party because that designer paper was Pool Party. I love this color combination. This was on a color coach, and I don't think it was maybe it was last year's. I've got my last year's color coach here. I've used this before, and I absolutely love the combination together. I don't think it was in last year's. I think it might have been a couple years ago. Yeah, it wasn't last year's, but I've used this color combination before and I love it. So I thought I would pull it out and use it again. So we are going to start with our jar, and I'm going to do the outline of the jar. And let me just see. I think I'm at the bottom of my comments. I think the last one that I see is Julie on YouTube. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm going to stamp the jar, and it's just the outline. Okay, and then I'm going to take this little stamp right here, is like our cookies. Okay, so those are our cookies piled on top of each other. And so I'm going to do those in crumb cake. And I do have to stand up and try to get this centered. Okay, I want to make sure it goes down to the bottom, and I also don't want it to go outside of the jar. And then I'm going to come back with the early espresso. I'm going to take this sweatshirt off quick. The arms on it are too long. I had it on because it was chilly out when you weren't in the sun, and I forgot to take it off. Okay, there we go. Now I can stamp. I don't have that sweatshirt in my way. All right, these are going to be the chocolate chips in your cookie. So you're going to, when you line it up over the top, you should be able to see right where it goes so that you can make your cookies with chocolate chips in them. Isn't that cool? I loved that. All right, and then while I have this out here, I am going to stamp part of my greeting where it says, sending a little your way. I'm going to stamp that. Oh, I didn't want that in that color. Let's see. I have to see if I have, I know I have one here somewhere. I thought I did. A chamois to clean this off. Where is my chamois? Let's see. Let me just go ahead. Oh, here it is, right underneath this piece of paper that I just grabbed. I wanted that in crumb cake. I didn't want that in early espresso. I'm going to close the early espresso so I don't make that mistake again. Right. And so I wanted this in crumb cake. Sending a little your way. And we're going to take the word sweetness and we're going to do that in pool party. And again, having to line up a lot on camera, having to look over the top of my camera a lot. That's a little high. Let's try that again. Give it another chance here. If I wasn't looking over my camera, I probably would do better because I did this twice before I had to look over my camera and that looked perfect. Look at that. Woohoo! And then on one of these layers, we are going to do the happy birthday. Just like that. All right, so we are done with our stamping. And let's go ahead, close these up, because otherwise I am likely to drop something in them and ruin the card. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to line up. And what I do is I kind of push it down a little bit to hold it in place and make sure it's even. And then I push push it a little bit harder to actually punch it out. And I'm going to put this in here. This is just a little scrap of gold. That's just going to be our top. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could stamp that and put it on top. I kind of liked how it had the little gold top instead of just having it be brown. And then for this, I am going to punch that out. And I don't think this is available anymore, but I kept it. This is a 1.25 inch circle punch. Now you could do 1 3/4 we have, which is just a little bit bigger. I liked how tiny that was. So I cut it out with that. You could also die cut one of our die cuts, our circle die cuts would work as well. I was trying to have this one be a stamp ink and paper where I didn't have to use my die cutting machine for anything. I forgot to tell you that. That's why I thought if I could do this with the circle that I have, that would be great. So I actually ended up having one. Okay, let me bring my paper trimmer in. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this. Let's see. Get it the right way here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on an angle. I'm going to have it a little bit longer on the right-hand side and a little bit shorter, so it's on a diagonal. And I'm just going to, I don't have this measured at all, guys. or ladies, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. But now I'm going to keep it straight and just slide it over. So I'm keeping it at the same angle. Okay, and it doesn't matter how far you go. Whoops, cut, don't score. All right, so I've got 3 pieces that are at a diagonal that I'm using. And I saw this layout from Dawn Griffith at DawnStampinThoughts.net. And so she did it completely different. She ended up using the rectangular frames and I ended up doing a circle. So it's a little bit different. Now, where did my envelope go? Because there should be a punched. Oh, you know what? I did die cut this one. I thought I punched it for this to go on. You could punch that with a 2-inch circle punch instead of die cutting it. I thought I punched it because I thought I went back and redid it all so that I didn't need to have a die cutting machine for this one. So it was just stamped ink and paper. I needed a punch, but okay, let's go ahead. We're going to layer this on this white. So I like to do the bottom and the top and find those and then place this one in between the 2 of them like that. So it just kind of gives it a little bit of interest, I guess, instead of just being the piece of designer paper that's there. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these. Right, so we just kind of dry fit it a little bit. And then I'm going to put this one down next. It's hard if you put the middle one and then, oh no, I don't have enough room at the end. So I like to do the two ends. And then after I do the two ends, the top and the bottom, I should say, and then put my middle in between them. So it's a super easy layout. And if you didn't want to use designer paper, you could emboss something, or you could take a layer that's embossed and you could use a designer layer that are the same like size, and you could cut them together and then like replace the middle with the embossed layer instead of having the all designer paper. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set this on here. Now, the layout that Dawn had did not have this white layer. It just had the designer paper right on here, but I thought that that white layer just added a little bit of something underneath it instead of having it directly on the crumb cake. Right, and I'm going to go ahead and attach this here. I'm leaving just a little border. I didn't want to have to, since it was 3 7/8, I didn't want to have to cut a whole nother strip just to get this little edge. So I decided let's just keep it 3 7/8 since that's what the other measurement was. Okay, so there's our inside. And then I'm going to put this down. I've been trying to be a little more cautious of how many things I put up on dimensionals so that I'm not always having to pay a lot of extra for postage. As we discussed last week, postage just keeps going up. And so I'm trying to make it so that I don't have to pay a lot when I'm sending my cards out. I mean, I'm okay with paying a little bit of extra, but if you have way too many layers that are popped up, it ends up getting to be a little much. Okay, and then I'm going to take my mini dimensionals, whoops, and pop one of those in the middle, and then I found I had to cut them in half for the rest. So we'll go ahead. It's so funny that when I was volunteering this morning, two of the moms that were there volunteering were students that I had when they were in high school at Xavier. And I'm like, oh, it's so good to see that you guys are still doing service now that you're moms and you're teaching your kids to do it. All right, so that is just gonna go right on top of there. Isn't that cute? That little jar, cookie jar. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. Pop this up. Now, she did not have another circle. Dawn did not. She had everything on this one circle, but I thought it needed a little circle for my greeting. So I took some editing liberties and changed the layout just a little bit to fit my needs here so I could put this little greeting up in the corner there. So I added another little circle. And like I said, she had those textured note frame, like those rectangles that have the little edging around the outside. She had two of those layered here instead of a circle, but her design showed a circle. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring in our linen thread. I love linen thread. It's so tiny. It doesn't cause a lot of bulk. And I was going to put it behind that circle. And then I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to put it right on the circle. And my tails are going to be a little bit long. I'm going to leave those just a tad bit long. so that I can, they're not going to be that long. I'm going to cut a little bit off, but let's see here. Just going to roll one of these up in between my fingers, set it where I want it. So I want the knot to be right up there in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and push that right in. And then I'm going to see they're a little bit longer. And if they don't really lay the way you want them to, this one I'm happy with the way it's laying there. But you can curl them with your bone folder as well. All right, and then we need some little gems on here, right? So these are the rainbow adhesive back dots, and there's some pool party in there. So I decided I was just gonna take a couple of these, and I'm gonna put one there and up there. And I think I'm going to do one down here. Now that one a little bit bigger one is, again, probably going to add postage, but you could always take that off if you wanted to, or you could put something that's a little bit flatter on there. I just thought that those matched. Now, when I did it, I ended up using some gems that are already gone. They were on the last chance list and I didn't realize they were already gone. These are the glossy dots that I used on mine when I did it before. So that is our first card, just kind of a fun layout with some designer series paper, letting you see a little bit of some new products that will be coming out with this little jar that you can put a lot of different things in it. I'm trying to think, I'm not sure how you would cut out the center, but I'm thinking there's going to be somebody that probably makes some sort of a shaker card with that, I would guess. I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm guessing somebody's going to figure out how to like cut the center out of that and make it into some sort of a shaker card. That would be my guess, but haven't seen one yet. But most people are not using the new product because you can't get it yet, but I thought I'll just do one of my cards will be a sneak peek so that you can see some of the things that are coming. And I'm trying to think, I think this is in the catalog and not an online exclusive. I'm getting mixed up between what's an online exclusive and what's in the catalog. I'm not going to lie to you on that. I think this actually might be an online exclusive. Might be an online exclusive, guys. All right. All right. So there is our first card, a fun little layout. I love how just cutting DSP gives it a new look. I agree with you, Linda. So that would have been just kind of boring right in the background, but we added just that little bit of white space in between it, and it makes it look a little bit different, and it makes it look just a little bit more interesting than just having a piece of DSP back there. So there is our first card. That is a layout that you could come back. Now let me go ahead and clean some of this up, and I'll put this card. This is, I know how you guys like it, so that you can take a screenshot. So there are the dimensions, and there is the card. Now, I wish I could zoom in on it, but I haven't figured out how to do that in my software. I don't see a zoom button at all on the software. And I'm afraid if I touch my camera, but I think if you take a picture, you can zoom in on your picture and that'll work just fine as well. So there is the first card along with the dimensions. Thanks, Nancy. All right, are you ready for the fun fold? I think I had it there quite a while, so I'll set that aside. And we will move in the things that we will need for our fun fold. Now our fun fold needs, whoa, there's a lot more layers to our fun fold, but we're using some cutouts from one of our designer series paper packs. Like I said, I got this from Lisa Curcio. When she did it with the Secret Garden, and she did it with the umbrella. And I'm trying to think what the third card was that she did, because she did one portrait and one landscape. We're going to do the landscape with the one that I'm doing today. And I can't remember what she even called this. Some sort of a flap hinge. I don't remember exactly what you call it. You can kind of see a sneak peek of what we're going to be using. So let me go away from your comments for just a little bit. So I can get at my banners. Let's see, where's my mouse? There it is. Okay, so we're going to start with this right here. So our card base is going to be blueberry bushel, and it measures 4¼ by 5½. So notice this doesn't fold. Our fold is going to take place. I just got a little sip of water here. My mouth is really dry. Okay. Whew, that's better. Okay, 4¼ by 5½. This is not going to be our folding piece. We're going to have a piece on top of this that actually folds. Then you are going to find a piece of kind of backgroundish looking DSP. So I chose this side of the paper, and this is actually 4¼ by 5¼ So all it's going to cover basically your whole layer, except for a little bit of a, like a 6/8 of an inch here and an 1/8 of an inch here. That's all that's going to be showing of that blue. Okay, then your folding piece of the card is going to be this right here. And this measures 4¼ by 8½. And I scored it at by 4¼ So this right here is 4¼ by 4¼ And that's going to go right on top of there. So the only part of the little pink that we're going to see is this. Now, if you wanted to, you could just cut some strips if you wanted and put in them there. When Lisa did it, she did it the whole size, I think, because if you are just a little bit off, you will see it on the bottom and it'll look funny if it ends. You know what I mean? All right. Then I have a piece of DSP that I'm going to use with that measures 4¼ by 4¼ So I'm going to cover up this blue piece all together. Okay, so I'm going to cover the whole front of that with something that's 4¼ by 4¼ Look at how that looks with that pink. I love it, right? Okay, then we're going to have a little hinge. And our hinge measures 1½ by 8½, and we scored it at 4¼ So our hinge is going to come in here to kind of go over the top of this and hold this together. So it's kind of going to serve sort of like a belly band. Okay, it's not a belly band, but it looks kind of like it because it kind of hinges like this. And then we are going to have an inside piece that measures 4 by 4. That's going to go inside of there. Okay, I have some, I also cut, this is number 4 and number 5. So I start from the inside and count my way out. This is pretty in pink. This is one's number 4, and this one's number 5 of our everyday arches. And then I took a flower that has the pink and the blue, and another flower that has the pink and the blue, and I have a cupcake that ended up having the pink and the blue, and we're going to be using those to help decorate. So I didn't have to stamp any of that. All I'm going to really be stamping are my greetings. So, and that's pretty easy. So we're going to stamp on here. No, we're not going to stamp on here. We're going to add something to this. We're going to stamp on here, and we're going to stamp on here. But before we do that, I'm trying to think what would be the easiest. Let's look at how we put this fun fold together. So I'm going to get away from this and go back to my comments. Okay, so this piece right here is just for our envelope. All right, so we have these two pieces that I have to stamp on. Okay, the big one is going to be for the outside. This little one is going to be for the inside. So on the outside, oh, my stamps are right here. Oh, yes. This is Blueberry Bushel ink. And I have the word birthday, and this is my outside. I'm going to put the happy birthday on my outside, and it's going to go this way. So I'm going to stamp that first. I'm going to stand up so I can see if I'm getting this straight. And then we're going to put the word happy. I love these colors together. I love that the DSP tells me what colors look nice together, because I wouldn't have put those two colors together. And then on my inside greeting, I'm going to use the Make a Wish. And I am going to put it a little bit more to the left. All right, that is all the stamping we need to do for this card. The rest is going to be with these cutouts that we have from the designer paper, which those are fabulous. I love sometimes how these look because it makes it so easy to put something together. The fun fold here might take a little while, but oh my goodness, all we had to do was stamp this and the rest of the stuff is all being put together by our cutout. So we didn't have to die cut anything. You know what? I didn't have to die cut it. Oh yeah, I had to die cut these labels. All right, this right here is going to go on the front of this card and we're going to cover the entire front up with it. So there's not any of the blue that's showing. Now you could change that if you wanted to. This was how Susan did it and I liked how it looked. I did cut a piece shorter to see if I liked it that way better. And I actually liked the full piece because my thought was, gosh, 4x4 would use less paper, but this has to be cut at 4 1/4 anyway. And so it ended up working out. All right, let's see here. Where did I put my adhesive? Whoops. That's not the one that I had because I had the cover off of that one. So I don't know what I did with the one that I had out here. I've got a couple of them on my stamping space here. All right, so now I want this. And if you want to use liquid glue because you have a little more wiggle room, I just kind of set them both down on my surface and line them up. That's how I did do it, but now I'm on the camera and I'm having to do it out in front of me a little bit. It might be easier just to go like this. There we go. We covered that completely. And then on the inside, we're going to add this little cupcake. Got a little bit of ink there, or not ink, tape. And then we're going to add that to our inside. So we've got lots of room to write our little greeting. There's really not that much space on there because it's only a 4x4 piece of paper. All right, and then we're going to put this together. So this piece right here, it's hard to cover up that beautiful paper with that gold and everything, isn't it? Oh. Okay, so again, we want just about 1/8 of an inch, but we want to go top to bottom with our designer paper. So that's going to look like that. Thanks, Mary, for liking and sharing. Thanks for joining us. All right, now before I put this piece on, I've got to add my little hinge. My hinge is going to go like this, so it goes over the top of this card. Okay, and before I do that, I want to make a little banner out of the end. So I'm going to cut up about where the center is. And then I'm going to go in from each of the sides. And from this side. And that will give us our little banner. Might have to trim just a little bit out of there. There we go. Okay, and now I can go ahead and add my adhesive. And if you want to use tear and tape on here, you can. I'm just going to use, I just have regular Stampin' Seal. It's not even the plus, it's just the regular. And I'm going to look for, I'm going to kind of hold this against here to try to get it top and bottom centered. Okay, and that's just going to go right on there like that. And then this will open like that. And now to cover all of this up, I'm going to add that to my card base. And again, I want to get it so that there's the same amount of pink, that pink check coming from both sides. And it's going to set, it's the same height as the other two pieces. Okay, so that's on there like that. I'm going to open this way. We're going to open that way. Okay, wait, there's going to be one more little hidden surprise in this. Okay, our happy birthday is going to go right here. And when we open this up, our Make-A-Wish is going to be right inside of it. Right? Cool. Right, so we're going to go ahead and add adhesive to our little hinge. And I want this to come right up to the edge. And I want it to be centered on my hinge. Okay, so I'm going to press that down. And then same thing here. The reason I cut this a little bit shorter is I don't have to match it up perfectly. I can look at where my hinge is here and where this is and make sure that I have it centered on there. And I'm going to add this flower right here. You got to make sure, because this opens up like this, you've got to make sure it's not hanging off the edge or it will end up bending it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this up on a dimensional. Thanks, Karen. Yeah, this was a completely new fold to me. And I was like, I really like it. I haven't seen this before and I love trying new things. And so I'm like, let's give it a try with something that is my design instead of somebody else's. So you can go back and look for Lisa Curcio, and she ends up having 3 cards that she does with this fold. 2 of them are this way, and then the other one, actually, maybe 2 of them are this way, that it opens up, and then one of them is this way. I can't remember if there were 2. There's 2 of one way and 1 of the other way. And this I'm just put down here. I think I like it like that better. Okay, and you could use more of the little cutout things if you want. So now it says happy birthday. You open it up and it says make a wish, and there's the little candle for you to make the wish on, right? I just thought, what a fun fold. And it's really not that difficult. It's actually pretty easy of a fold to do. Here's my envelope. I'm going to go ahead and add, I think I'm going to add the pink check. I mean, I like the gold too, but because you see so little of it on here, I think it'd be fun to do that on the envelope flap. There we go. And we'll cut around it. Yes, Angelique, thank you. Yeah, I really love this fold. So I think I will be doing it again. When she did the vertical one, she did not have, she just had a strip of paper that came down like this, and she just had something rectangular on that. The other one that she did used the country corners dies instead of the everyday arch dies. But yeah, what a fun fold. Okay, let's go ahead, and I have some of, and I think these are gone now that I think of it too, some of the in color resin dots, because they've got the pretty in pink in there. And I'm just going to add a couple of them, I think, to the background. You could also do something in gold. So I've got 1, do 2. You could also probably add a ribbon here if you wanted to. I'm going to put 1 up there. Okay, so we've got a few little dots on there for a little bit of extra something. Make a wish. And there's our little cupcake. So she did it with the watering can and I think some of the radishes. And I think it said happy spring or something when you opened it up on the inside. She had the umbrella for the one that she did this way. I can't think of the third one, what she used. But I just thought, what a fun fold. I'm going to steal her idea for the fold and make it my own with my own paper and stamps. And so that's what I ended up doing. So that is our card number 2. That's our fun fold. Oh, let me do this. I did put the dimensions up, didn't I? I don't think I did when I pulled them out. Yeah, I did. Okay, I'm losing my mind, guys. Okay, so there's the card so that you can see it. Probably should have backed that up a little bit because you can kind of see a little bit of my hinge there. But there are the dimensions. And I could probably score this a little bit better with my bone folder and it would lay a little bit flatter. There we go. Okay, so you use just a regular card base, put some DSP over it, put your folding piece, put some DSP over the top of that, add a hinge and an inside and something for your outside. So that is it for that one. All right, let me quickly run and get my cards that I received in the mail. All right. They were sitting right on my table. I was going to be bringing them in here. So I received this cute card. Look at that, with the little bunnies. I love those. And the butterflies, so springy. This came to me from Cave and Epron. And I got this after my live last Saturday. It was in my mailbox. And then this was another Easter card. Look at how cute that is with that delightful wishes. And when you open that up, it says Happy Easter, and this is from Sarah Marquardt. Look at that cute little chick. I'm trying to think, do those come from the same? I don't think they came from the same stamp set, but such a cute, cute, cute card. I love this fold with the um, diagonal and stuff like that too. So that was my happy mail that I received. And let me change my camera here. I'll come back to you. Okay, so originally I was going to have a card buffet next weekend. There's no physical way that I can do that. There's no physical way. So the reason I was going to have it next weekend is because the weekend after is Mother's Day. Well, next weekend I wouldn't be able to do a Sunday card buffet because I have First Communion. So I just won't do a Sunday Mother's Day weekend. So I'm moving my card buffet to Mother's Day weekend. I will be getting my newsletter out hopefully on Monday for you or Tuesday at the latest. And then you will see that instead of having a Monday night as an option for you to do the card buffet, it's actually going to be a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and that's it. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and not a Sunday and not a Monday. Okay. The reason I have to do that is because on Tuesday, the 13th, I am leaving for Disney. Yes, I have to say that less than 1% of Stampin' Up! Demonstrators worldwide earn this trip. So, but I'm excited to be able to go. But there's no way I can do a card buffet on Monday night and then be at the airport and on a flight out at 5:30 in the morning the next morning when somebody comes and moves into my house. So I've got to change my sheets and do all of that because she sleeps in my bed and stays with my dog. So there's no way that I could do that. So, but there's also no way that I can get 16 cards designed by Monday and have the choices out to you. So next week I will be at 8:30, my normal time. The week after that, I will be again in the afternoon because I'll have my card buffet. And then the week after that, I will not be on at all because I will be in Disney. So that's coming up so fast. Oh my gosh, right? Oh, how did it come up so fast? So anyhow, I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I hope you can find some time to be creative. Thank you to all of you who joined in on my creative challenge. I loved seeing your creations. I'm going to turn this light off because goodness gracious, it really washes me out. Nope, it might be this one that washes me out. There we go. Better having the natural sunlight. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you again next weekend, but I will be at 8:30 in the morning. And that is going to be, I think that's the last weekend before the catalog goes live. Yay! All right. So I will see you next week. Have a great week and thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.